learn a lot, and you meet fantastic people all the time, and it's fun to fight for something good, you know, and I think it's a very special, because everyone who works in psychiatric things or in social service, everyone wants to do good, but I think this is the only work that you can have that you actually go from your home in the morning and you only do good.
My name is Mats Jespersson. I'm a psychiatric survivor. 20 years ago I've been for 2 years in a mental hospital, but I cured myself. There was no help from psychiatry at all. For me it was something which suited very well my own experience in what you need. You need a person, one person who is very close to you and who is 100% on your side. Not 98%, not 99%, but 100%, completely.
The personal ombudsman system is a system where persons, professionals, help persons with a history of mental illness to achieve their goals in the community or in their life, actually. The persons with a history of mental illness choose which changes they'd like to make in their lives, and our mission is to support them to reach their own life goals. Someone would like to change their housing situation, their working environment, their family situation. Some persons would like to have a loved one, to start a family. Someone would like to have friends. Some persons do have a problem with banks or authorities and need to have a legal issues sorted out. That's why we're there.
I'm that kind of person who have a hard time to ask people for help. So it felt very strange when I called Hans Westerlund, who's my personal man, Ombudsman. I got contact with him through I was from the psychiatry, but when you are indoor, I had a period and everything was a mess with studies, income, everything, because when you study you don't have you don't have income from social society system, because you only get money for those days you should be in work. But when you are study and working on hours, you don't know for many days when you're going to work. So practically I don't have any income at all when I'm studying and work at the same time. So I ran out of money and I needed help to guide in the system how to do.
He has been so helpful to me. He follows me if I have an appointment, if there is anything I can tell him, and he will assist me to the government or the places that I've been going. So it has been good help. And actually when I was so down and I was at the hospital, he came around. He asked you, what do you feel? How are you doing here? Do you think it's quite okay for you to be here? I mean, he's there for me when I need him. If anything, I can turn to him and he will help me.
There is no formal way to get a PO, personal ombudsman. Usually they try themselves to reach out, to find people, even go out and find them on the streets. And they have sometimes a long period when they just connect. And then at that one moment they ask this person if, do you want me to be your PO, your personal ombudsman? And if this person say yes, it's settled. And then the PO starts getting commissions from this client. It could be what this person wants to have, what kind of help he or she wants to have, which could be just everything from having problem with their home, with their relatives, wanting to have friends, want to have something to do, wanting to have no medicines anymore, wanted to get a lawyer, whatever.
A client who was badly wanted to have a dog, so we were looking on websites trying to find a dog.
When I was so sick and my children in the bed, I couldn't go because I was really down. He took me there and bought the bed and they brought it home for me. So for me it has been very much helpful to me that I can trust and rely on him if I'm in need.
I'm not appointed by the city council. It's all based on trust. So if she wants my help, I help her. So I have no authority to do anything against her will. And I don't do anything against or behind her back or anything. So it's all open.
It made me feel I become to trust him, and I sometimes have hard to trust other people, especially when they're supposed to help me.
Yeah, when we started it in '95, it was before this Convention on Human Rights, the UN Convention. So it was out of another context, but we have already from the beginning, one of the starting point was that we should change the power balance between the clients and people around him or her, because this person is also put down, and they have all these features around them, that family members, psychiatrists, nurses, social workers. Sometimes they are in a meeting and they are alone and they have 10 people who tell them, him or her, what he should do. So one of the ideas from the beginning was to help a little to change the power balance, so there's more power to the client. And later, when I was taking part in this preparing of the convention, this came up, this concept of supported decision making around 2005, 2006, and we saw immediately that this fit into this concept, which means that it's that you don't take the decision making away from the person. It stays there, it remains there, but the person might need some help to express, to formulate in words, first of all, what they want, and to communicate it sometimes to others.
No, he does not make any decision, but he helps me or supports me in the decisions that I want to take.
The difference between a guardian and a personal ombudsman is that the guardian is taking the decision making away from you. So the decision making is not staying at you, it's taken away and placed to another person. And this person makes the decisions. He can make decisions against your own will. Usually he should have a conversation, of course, but he can make decision totally opposite your own. So that is the difference. But when you have a personal ombudsman, the decision making is staying with the person like this, and the personal ombudsman is just supporting this person to formulate it or to communicate it.
The basic idea in guardianship is that you appoint a person who takes decision for a third person. So if you have a psychosocial disability, the guardian is the one who takes all the decisions for you, and you cannot take any decisions yourself. The evidence that is out there when you talk to people that have been under guardianship shows a lot of negative effects. Is being deprived of all your decision-making authority it's very disempowering. It's a feeling of helplessness, it's a feeling of not having any control of your life, which is not very beneficial especially if you're already not feeling well. Supported decision making is very much as it sounds, so you get support to make decisions. So the big difference between guardianship and supported decision making is that the decision stays with the individual. So what the supporter does is not making decisions for someone, but actually helping the person, enabling the person to make decisions, him or herself.
Traditional mental health services constitutes by a group of professionals, in most systems nowadays, well-meaning persons, trying to define services for a group, a target group, what do they want, and then we try to identify and formulate and create an environment for them. But by personal ombudsman, we don't do that for them, we do it with them. We ask persons, what do you want? And it's not a group journey, it's an individual journey. Each individual counts.
Sometimes for me, because I can never make a decision against the will of my client, and of course sometimes it can be a bit frustrating when I in my mind think, oh, I know what this person needs, but they can't decide it. But then again, everyone else is working against my client, so then I can someone can be on the side of the client. It's very, and yet I in this 2 years that I've been working with this, I have never worked with a person who is not able to. Everyone knows what they want, and a lot of them knows how to get there.
Me and my personal ombudsman, we didn't have to have any rules because we were reasonable persons. I felt I had the power to say anything I wanted to him.
So sometimes after a couple of years with a personal ombudsman, it often is a process where the change is taking place within the client suddenly, quite suddenly. When this person steps out of the old way of behavior and is in control of their life again. It's something that just happened by itself. The outcome is extraordinary. I mean, also both in quantitative terms, in economic terms, and also in qualitative terms. And many people have changed their lives completely.
Recovery is a personal and unique experience, and no one can arrange a recovery service. But what we can do with personal ombudsman and other services is to promote the individual recovery.
The first thing that happens when you got a personal ombudsman usually is that you almost doesn't need any psychiatric treatment anymore. It drops down immediately like that. So it's very little days in hospital anymore.
Recovery means to me to be able to go back to what you're supposed to do. I was sometimes when people with mental illness, they are not able to work at all, and I always say that work is the most important thing you can do in your work if you're able to. Can't you just work some few times a week? Well, that's okay, but it's very important to be part of something and feel that you have a value.
Every euro you spend on the personal ombudsman, you save 17 euro for the state, for the government. So it's really an economic gain.
I have knowledge from my ombudsman. Without him and what he taught me, I wouldn't be able to do it by myself now.